All right, let's talk about a Buddhist text that basically flips the script on everything you thought you knew about enlightenment. It's called the Vajrayāna Sutra, and its central idea, well, it's pretty revolutionary.
Yeah, we're diving straight into the source material here to really unpack this thing. And what we're going to find is a teaching that just completely challenges our usual ideas about what a spiritual path is supposed to look like. It doesn't shy away from the messy, passionate parts of being human at all. So here's a big question this whole thing forces us to ask right from the start. What if enlightenment wasn't about getting rid of your desires? What if you didn't have to crush your anger or your passions? What if the real path was about seeing all that stuff in a completely new light? Just let that sink in for me.
Okay, so to really get what's going on here, you have to picture the scene. Because this teaching wasn't given in some quiet monastery on a mountainside. No, the setting for this is, well, it's literally out of this world. We're talking about this incredible, magnificent palace. It's sitting at the very peak of what's called the desire realm, like the highest heaven you can imagine. The text just paints this picture of a place built from priceless jewels, totally adorned with these wonders, with the sound of golden chimes everywhere. You get the sense right away, something huge is about to happen here. And then look who shows up. You've got the Buddha, of course, but he's surrounded by, get this, 80 billion great bodhisattvas. These are beings who are right on the edge of full enlightenment. So this isn't some small, intimate chat. This is a massive cosmic event. You've got all the heady hitters there. Bodhisattva, Manjushri, they're all there, waiting to hear what's next. All right, so the stage is set. Now we get to the absolute heart of it, what the Buddha actually reveals to this incredible crowd. And believe me, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, first, there's a key concept we need to quickly touch on. It's called Prajñāpāramitā. Big word, I know, but it basically means the perfection of wisdom. Think of it as seeing reality for what it truly is, with no filters, no distortions, just direct, clear seeing. So with that in mind, here's the bombshell. The Buddha declares that everything, and he means everything, without a single exception, is pure in its most basic nature. Now this is crucial. This isn't something you have to achieve. It's not a goal, it's just the way things are. Everything, right here, right now, is already pure. And just so we're clear, when the sutra says everything, it means everything. The sights you see, the sounds you hear, what you smell, taste, touch, even your own thoughts. The text is super explicit about this. Every single one of these experiences, at its core, is pure. Okay, so this naturally leads to the most radical part of the whole text. I mean, if everything is pure, then what about the stuff we usually think of as impure? Like greed, anger, desire. Where do they fit in? And this is where the sutra just blows up the conventional wisdom. We're always taught, right? Greed is bad. It's an obstacle. Anger is a poison. You got to get rid of it. But this text, it says nope. It says the very nature of greed is pure. The very nature of anger is pure. And desire? That's not something you have to eliminate. It's actually part of the path. So how can that be? Well, the sutra gives us this beautiful classic metaphor, the lotus flower. Think about it. A lotus grows up through the mud, right? But when it blossoms, it's perfectly clean, completely unstained. The idea here is that our passions, all that messy stuff, that's the mud. It's the soil we grow from. But it doesn't have to stain our true nature, which is pure like that lotus blossom. So what does this mean for us? It means the spiritual path isn't some kind of war against yourself. It's not about fighting your thoughts or trying to destroy your feelings. The real work is just to shift your perspective, to look right at those passions and see their pure, empty nature. It's all about transformation, not suppression. Totally different game. Okay, that sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do that? How do you access this view? Well, the sutra isn't just a philosophy book. It gives you a tool, a practice. You could almost call it a kind of technology of sound. And that brings us to mantras. And the promises the text makes about this practice are, well, they're huge. It says that if you really engage with these teachings, with these sounds, all your heavy sins, your karmic baggage, it all gets wiped clean. You won't be reborn in lower realms. And the big one, you can attain enlightenment, and quickly. It's presented as this incredibly direct, powerful path.
So, what you'll see in the text is that after the Buddha explains a major point, he'll utter a mantra, like a seal on a letter. This syllable here, hum, is one of the big ones. Think of it as the entire teaching, all its power and wisdom compressed into a single sound. And here's another you'll probably recognize: Om. These aren't just random noises, you know. In this esoteric tradition, these mantras are considered the actual sonic vibration of enlightenment. It's the wisdom of the teaching distilled into a form you can actually work with. And another one is Hreech. The idea is that each one of these sacred sounds isolates a particular aspect of the teaching. So when you recite them, you're not just thinking about the idea. You're trying to internalize it, to embody that wisdom on a much deeper, almost vibrational level. Okay, so we've taken quite a journey, right? From this unbelievable celestial palace through some really radical ideas about our passions, all the way to the power of sacred sound. So, what's the big takeaway? What are we supposed to do with all this? I think the core message really is this: true wisdom isn't about running away from the world. It's not about escaping our messy, complicated human emotions. It's about completely transforming how we see it all. It's about learning to recognize the purity that is already here, in every single moment, in everything. And that includes you. And so that really just leaves us with one final question to chew on. If you actually took this idea seriously, even just for a day, what would change for you? What part of your own life, that difficult emotion you're wrestling with or that tough situation at work, what could you see differently if you looked at it through this lens of inherent, unshakable purity?